All right. Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Hello.
We're here.
Look at that. We made it. We're alive. It's happening. And in that very seamless snap transition, now there's a video here. Now there's people on the screen. So, hi, everybody. Welcome in tonight. We are here to discuss a very significant piece of Bungie and Destiny 2's history. This may go down as one of the biggest and most important moves they've made in their 30 years of existence. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But before we do all that, before we dive into what we're going to be chatting about tonight, I want to welcome in three co-hosts of the kind of cunning you'd expect from the Destiny community, content creator base. I'm going to go in the order that I see them on screen. So directly to my right is none other than CausticPhoenix. Phoenix, hello.
Hello. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
So Phoenix, you're a Destiny content creator. You're a marketing professional. You've got kind of a business eye. And I'm really excited to hear. I'm a marketing professional too, so I'm really excited to hear your perspective on this, as I think it's going to be slightly unique compared to some of the stuff you might see on Twitter and things. To get people into a little bit about who you are, what's your favorite Guardian class and exotic weapon?
Is there really a choice? It's Hunter, and I use Crimson every
single time. There it is.
I will never use another gun in my life.
Okay, well, that's okay. It's a great gun to use. So I think that's that you've just established yourself completely divisively in the community. People will now either love you or hate you. Excellent. Directly beneath me, Tony, aka illPhysics. Hi, man. How's it going?
Hey, how's it going?
Good. You are a Destiny content creator, and you are a many things content creator. Let's not pigeonhole you, because your hiatus was worthy of note, I think. And
you think so?
I think it was. I think you're a Destiny and Apex creator,
True.
Among a few other things here and there, mainly PvP. Phasmophobia. Well. Okay, love that. Love that
so much.
Well, for our Destiny fans here tonight, why don't you tell everybody who your favorite Guardian class is and your favorite exotic weapon?
Ooh, favorite man. Before they ended up nerfing Double Dash, because I'm a PvP guy, before they ended up nerfing Double Dash, Icarus Dash on Top Dawn, Dawnblade, Warlock, that was unequivocally my favorite, just because of that right there. So I think I'm moving back to Hunter now, but it's kind of a tie. I think I definitely have way more time on Hunter than any other class in the game in PvP. So I think we swing with that. As far as what my favorite exotic, is it exotic weapon or exotic piece of armor?
Let's go with exotic weapon. Let's get an exotic exotic weapon.
We already know then it's Hawkmoon.
Hawkmoon.
Not even close.
So another exotic kinetic hand cannon is
100%.
Okay.
Destiny 2 and Destiny in general as a franchise is somebody said it the other day. If you don't, it was ZK Mushroom. I was looking at him playing some trials, and somebody asked him in his chat. Somebody said something about railing on hand cannons or something, and he was just like, "Look, if you like Destiny PvP, you can't not like hand cannon, shotgun, snipers. Like that is literally the draw.
Bread and butter, baby.
That is literally the draw.
Yep.
So yeah, I love it.
Good deal. So last but certainly not least, my man TyFighter down there in the corner. Ty.
Yeah.
Hi.
All this talk of hand cannons and snipers, I generally go a different direction.
Hold on. Tell people who you are. What's your... He's going
Let's
straight to the...
who I am first and foremost.
Yeah.
Not a hand cannon and sniper guy.
Not a hand cannon
My name is
sniper
TyFighter. I am neither a marketing professional nor a big-time content creator. These days, I used to stream Destiny with my good buddy Teej all the time. But unfortunately, life changed a little bit, so my time with content creation has come to an end. But I'm still very hands-on with the industry. I keep my ear to the ground very closely. So this is it's been very interesting to watch all the acquisitions and all the business moves. So yeah, I'm just here to talk about it and I guess have an opinion. So
yeah, Ty, you are always the first person to kind of post the new industry news buzz in the various channels I see you, and you're very focused on that. So obviously today was a big day.
It is a curse, actually, to be as on as I make myself.
Excellent,
but yeah.
excellent. Okay, well,
it's fun.
Well, tell everybody who your favorite Guardian class is and your favorite exotic weapon.
It's no secret within the community that Titan is the #1 best class available in the game. I'm not sure 100% why anyone else tries to pursue any other class.
Okay.
But it is and will always be Titan. So yeah, thank you for that. Really looking forward to all the cool stuff they got coming next season. So it's gonna be great. To answer your second question, exotics. I don't know why anyone would say anything besides the best gun in the game, which is Jotun. One hit kill in PvP, the ultimate DPS weapon.
What is it with
this
you
season.
Titans, man? What is it with you Titans?
Yeah,
and this
hold on.
Jotun?
I'm sorry that us Titans tend to choose the best weapon in the game as our favorite.
Wow. That's spicy. Okay.
Oh no.
Yes, the Jotun
You-
is
you
the
for the rest of
spiciest
history.
That's
weapon.
a hell of a take.
Literally
It
shoots
is.
fireballs.
That
That's right.
certainly is.
Hell
Yeah.
of a take.
Okay, so now that you have full breadth and depth into the true identities of each of my guests tonight, let's tell them what we came here to talk about. So for those of you guys that are unaware, the big news we keep referencing is that Sony Entertainment International has made a purchase of Bungie Studios. Is it SEI or SIE? Is it Sony Interactive Entertainment or Sony Entertainment
SIE.
International? SIE, Sony Interactive Entertainment. Okay. And this is Sony, not just Sony America. This is like Sony, including the world Sony.
Yes.
Okay.
Or the world.
Well, is it
The world.
Sony has its own
is it the
planet.
top Sony?
That's what
that,
I'm-
like also makes the TVs.
The TVs?
Or is it,
No, it's
or is it
Sony
a
Interactive
subsidiary of
Entertainment.
Sony?
It's the
Okay.
gaming one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically,
well-
it's gaming and it's the
So
entertainment.
this is the
Entertainment,
This is the
right.
Xbox to
Yeah.
Sony's Microsoft. Yeah.
Well,
So
no, I don't know.
Microsoft is a-
I
Microsoft
think
is a piece of, or sorry, Xbox is a piece of Microsoft. So SIE is a piece of Sony. Is that?
well, technically they would have to have Papa Sony's blessing to spend $3.6 billion. I would imagine.
yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's
yeah.
fair.
So let's say that this is akin to, I mean, technically we all say Xbox bought Bethesda, but really that Microsoft bought Bethesda. I mean, it's not, that's not a, like, it's not Phil didn't just take out the checkbook one day and, without consulting the rest of the organization, I'm sure.
I don't know. These days, it kind of feels like Phil's got his own checkbook.
Hey, Phil's a classy guy.
We all want Phil energy. And
Yeah,
Phil's
we
bank
do.
account.
That's true. And
Dude,
Phil's
the
bank
guy is a
account, yeah.
Destiny grinder.
The ladder,
He,
the ladder.
he had a higher light than me last season, and I did not skimp. So, like, yeah, dude, the guy games.
He's a big Destiny fan. We're actually going to talk a little bit about Phil today, but before we dive into that, we're going to I want to take you guys in. I'm going to cut back over to a little visual aid I've put together for us here today for you guys on stream. And so with our chat today,
every bit of this.
going over the acquisition of Sony by PlayStation, we got a few things that we want to cover. So let's take a look at what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to give you guys a detailed overview of what happened, the deal itself, what's been going on. We're going to go into looking at industry acquisitions as a whole. This is not an uncommon trend, especially this year. And look at some of the bigger billion plus acquisitions we've seen in recent history and kind of where this one falls on the Richter scale. We're going to look at some statements from key stakeholders, and that's going to be developers on either side. That's going to be key press, industry analysts and specialists that are looking at this. Basically, people who have the knowledge and investment into this kind of deal to justify making a comment that's worth something. So we're going to look at those. The memes. We're going to look at some memes because you know what? The memes that came out of today have been spectacular, and there's nothing short of excellent memes that we will review as a group. And then we're going to jump into some kind of speculative discussion, looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly about what is this deal, what are the potentials that come out of this, on the side of PlayStation, on the side of Bungie, on the side of other, game industry folks, Xbox, Nintendo, Steam. We look at, there's a lot of people that are going to be impacted by this. Us, the players, are another obviously key faction involved in all this. And then, of course, to kind of conclude, like, who wins? Who's making out like a bandit on this $3.6 billion? And who's going to be the one that kind of comes out on top. So let's get started with some of this stuff, looking at a detailed overview of the deal. Now, at its base form, this is what we're looking at. Sony, I wrote Entertainment International because I'm an idiot. Sony Interactive Entertainment bought Bungie Studios for $3.6 billion. That's a lot of money.
Billion.
It's a lot of money.
Yes.
What would you guys do with $3.6 billion?
I would also buy Bungie.
Oh,
Right, to take
Okay.
over the world.
That's a pretty solid investment there, Phoenix. I mean,
yeah.
I know.
I think that's honestly the best answer. I was thinking some like an island or I don't know.
No. Why do that when you could have a space world?
that's yeah.
I could have a Star Horse.
Would you?
According to the last year, you could literally build a rocket ship and go wherever you wanted.
That's true.
That's true.
Phoenix, would you put yourself in the game if you own Bungie? Would you be an NPC quest giving?
Maybe an NPC is like a comedic character. Listen, there's a reason I play video games, and that's because I love to pretend I'm someone else.
Okay, all right, that's fair. That's fair enough.
I know, I've been dyeing my hair and my looks to become more like the characters I've been creating in games. Okay.
Okay. All right, Physics. What do you do with 3.6 billion?
I'd probably buy the polar ice caps and then sue everybody on the fucking planet.
Wow. Guys, just chat, just as an FYI, Physics just burned the one PG-13 F-bomb we have for the stream, so
That's it.
it's all right. It's all right. It's over now. It's done. That's
You haven't broken any rules. It's fine.
he hasn't.
We
It's a
get one.
PG-13. Every stream
We
gets
did
one.
it for the ice
PG-13. It's like the
Very
movies.
strongly about climate change.
Very strongly about, and you know what? And I'm proud of you for that. That's a very nice attribute of someone's character. So good for you. Okay, polar ice caps. Ty, hit me.
I kind of feel bad. I was going to change the name of Titans to TyFighters, but I think the Polar Ice Caps idea is better.
Too much guilt now. You can't say something that that hits you.
Take it. His is better.
I'll flip it the other way. I would take my 3.6 billion, and I would buy for myself and all my friends who I know in the Destiny community a fully commissioned set of their Guardian's armor to wear.
It's excellent.
As so if we're buds, I'm sliding those DMs to be like, hit me with your order, and we're gonna get with somebody, and everybody's getting their own custom fit Hollywood level
The ultimate fashion game. Now
set of
that,
stuff.
Fan service
that
right
says
here.
a lot about a person.
Serious fan service right here. I can't decide between like this display put on by Teej right now, or Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know which one did fan service better.
They're both pretty
it's a
good.
tight race.
Pretty good tight race. All right, so then looking at this here. So $3.6 billion purchased Bungie. This is what Bungie shared on their vision for Destiny 2 as a result of this acquisition. I feel like this is important details of the total acquisition because that's the first question everybody asks is what does it mean for Destiny? Number one community, multi-platform. Destiny 2 will stay on all current platforms and expand to new ones. I don't really know what new ones exist besides like my LG fridge, or like a TI-89 calculator, or the like the whatever.
Switch.
Maybe the Switch.
They're not. And Switch has proven that they can take bigger games through cloud.
Sure.
And then speaking of cloud, they're not on Amazon Luna, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like that language just kind of future proofs them as well. If anything else comes out, they're saying right now we're going to be there.
We're going to be there. I think I like that. I think that's a pretty solid mission statement to make here. Number 2, self-published, creatively independent. We're going to talk about the verbiage self-published later because I have some qualms with that, but let's see what they say here. Bungie maintains full creative control and publishing independence of the Destiny universe. Great. Okay, so that's kind of what that was their big door slam with Activision was we want to make the game we want to make. And we don't want people telling us how to make the game we want to make. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to go and make the game we want to make. So it makes sense that this is a clause in the contractual agreement between Sony and Bungie. Number 3, same game everywhere. Every player should have an amazing Destiny experience no matter where you choose to play. I think that's a little bit... I'm going to flip us back over here so we can have a discussion about this. I think that's a little bit... there's a little bit of an eye roll I think you can have with that one. That's a very 30,000-foot, very non-specific, very buzzwordy, jargon-filled. What defines an amazing Destiny experience? I think is the big one. And to say that every player should instead of every player will is a much different... verbiage is important. Lawyers are paid a lot of money to make things sound better than they could be. But let's assume positive intent.
Yeah, but the headline feels like it says something different than the subtext there.
Sure.
Like if you take it at its face value, the headline says same game everywhere, and so the interpretation that everyone is supposed to have is that there will be no such thing as platform exclusive content. Mm-hmm. But then right? So like the situation with platform exclusive strikes or wave splitter or what have you, like that shouldn't exist. But then I absolutely take you at your word that the subtext there says that every player should have an amazing Destiny experience. Well, every player can have an amazing Destiny experience even without things like wave splitter and the brood hold strike.
That's kind of the reading between the lines, isn't it?
Yep.
So, I think that there's some things that you can construe from this statement, but overall, this is Bungie's PR coming forward with this is how we're going to tell the world about this and our set the expectation bar for Destiny. So that's a good thing. Continuing on with this detailed overview, we're going to talk a little bit about this. Like, what exactly did Sony buy then? If Bungie's remaining creatively independent, right? They're maintaining control of their platform and their game, their IP. So I wrote down some options here and some things that I've pulled from various sources. But let's take a look at this here. So they bought Destiny 2. They bought the Destiny universe as a whole and the future multimedia projects. And what I mean by that is Bungie in the past, before this acquisition, have mentioned wanting to branch into multimedia in the form of either live action or animated, production content, or, insert other medium here with, I don't know whether that's books or they're obviously already in merchandise and other things. So they want to go out and do more with Destiny, bigger universe. They have certainly purchased a reliable multi-platform revenue stream. Now, this is something that Sony historically has not done a very good job with. They've had some of the big multi-platform heavy hitters, Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, sports games, etc., on their platform for some time. But getting something like Destiny, which is very strong, kind of across the board. It's strong on Xbox. It's strong on PC. It's strong on PlayStation. That's a good foothold for them to have in this industry when Microsoft, of course, is gearing up to release things like Elder Scrolls 6 cross-platform and gosh, I'm blanking on basically every other thing they've bought. Call of Duty, I guess now, across all platforms. But that's a big one for them. And then, of course, any unannounced new Bungie IP. It's hard to put a value on that, though, isn't it?
Yeah. What is this unknown that they're producing? But let's be honest, Bungie's been really consistent with Halo, Destiny, and creating a community that tends to come back again and again. And I think that's also, when we think about this revenue stream, why Bungie is worth it, because Destiny is an ongoing game. Like, it's going to be something that comes out again and again and again. It's not like, here's the end of the series and that's done, sort of thing. We're seeing a storyline that is worth investing in on multiple levels. So that's pretty smart of where they can think of, where do we take this? How do we expand this? Is there going to be a consistency in money every single time?
Mm-hmm. And as a live service game, I think you expect to see Destiny 2 live on in a maybe a similar way to something like Dota 2 has lived on, right? Like, nobody's asking for Dota 3, right? They just continue to play the new content for Dota 2. Mm-hmm. What that means for what's unannounced. I mean, obviously we don't know what that is, right? We don't know what they're working on, what kind of game. It could be an RTS, could be a point and click adventure game. We don't really know. Could be a narrative story, choose your own adventure, Goosebumps game.
Look, it could be a competitive PvP shooter.
What?
Who knows?
Are you?
I'm just saying.
You doing a little projecting
nobody
right now?
Nobody mentioned it yet.
The probabilities of both of those options are exactly the same.
I just wanted to throw it out there. Nobody had said it. I thought it needed
It's
to
true.
be said.
I think it does need to be said. I think it does need to be
Cover all
said.
our bases.
Let me ask you this: if Bungie's new IP, do you think physics that this, because of Bungie's track record with Halo and Destiny, if it was that they wanted to do a Splitgate Unreal style arena shooter, right, highly competitive, highly focused on esports, if they have that deck somewhere at Bungie and they go to Sony and part of this negotiation is, and we're making this game, insert your dream competitive shooter here, I want to talk about is something like that. Is that something that's currently absent from Sony's playbook? And does that make Bungie more valuable to them? Let's run with that specific example. Obviously, we have no idea what it is, but let's run with that example for this part of this.
I'm gonna swing definitely with the second half of that. It definitely makes Bungie more Bungie more valuable. I mean, just look at the esports industry, $1 billion industry already, and it's relatively new. Yeah. There is so much space for growth, so much space for integrating, esports into a variety of of platforms and like ways that we just perceive the life like how big is mobile gaming is mobile gaming is it the most profitable arm of gaming right now? I think mobile is it.
I'm unsure
there
on the profitability side of it. I know that mobile gaming makes up one of the largest consumer bases of all of the games industry.
Yeah. So
Candy Crush brought in a lot of money.
Candy Crush did bring in a lot of money. I'm pretty sure Genshin is bringing in a lot of that mobile money right now.
It's true. And so, I mean, remember too that Apex Legends, which dropped esports ready, has a mobile side to it as well right now.
Right.
And actually they've done more development on that in the past like year or two than they have for the main game. I mean, per se, but I'm just saying that there's so much space for it. I think that it is such a great idea if it comes to fruition. Obviously, there's a bunch of like I honestly think that whatever game Bungie is developing, they're great at what they do. It definitely makes them more valuable to Sony in that acquisition deal. But if it were the competitive side, a competitive arena shooter or just a competitive shooter just in general, there's just so much space for that to grow. And like I like the concept that I really like about it, to be honest, is separating it off, like the competitive shooter side off from Destiny.
Sure.
It's just
Sure.
like there's so much tug of war 24/7, both community side, sandbox side, direction, wise, as far as PvP in at the studio, that I'd love it if they just shunted all of us off to the new game and just kept Destiny 2 and Destiny 2 PvP a little more casual, so that people can, it's highly accessible, so that folks can just drop in and just have a good time without all the stress of the more competitive elements of both the community and the sandbox. People can just be silly. People can just feel powerful, not just in PvE, but to bring that stuff over from PvE and still feel powerful in the sandbox. I'm not saying that winning shouldn't matter in a PvP type of type of mode, but what I am saying is it would be nice to kind of like shuffle some of us off of this game onto something maybe a little more our speed, so that the remaining people can just have a little bit more fun without the stress of what ends up happening with competitive shooters. Let's look at the Valorant community or the Apex community.
So what you're saying is
one-dimensional.
You hope that Bungie makes it competitive. I'm hearing that you kind of want it maybe a little bit.
I do.
You do.
I do. And I'm
that
not necessarily saying that I would go over to that game per se.
It'd be tough to leave, wouldn't it? It'd be tough to get
It would be. I mean, come on, man. My vault stays at 500, dog. It stays at 500. I'm playing Destiny 2 till the wheels fall off.
So competitive shooter, obviously you think, and I think I think you're right that there's definitely advantages to Sony looking at this purchase and saying, what can you add to our repertoire of fun, and what are you good at making? On the flip side of the coin, I'll juxtapose myself to your point to say that Sony does have a pretty intense track record of acquiring studios that fit into the Sony cookie cutter. If we look at Naughty Dog, we look at and I don't know studio names as much as I know IP names, but we look at the studio who does Horizon. We look at the studio who does God of War. We look at, like, there is a common theme of brilliantly designed, gorgeous, almost hyper real sim-like first-person, single-player narrative-driven experiences. And Sony seems to be going around kind of plucking up all those studios in a way that Nintendo and Microsoft are 100% not doing. And so, is there a chance that Bungie is going to be asked to say, hey, look, you're great at making games. Like, you make a game that our Sony fans will love. And is Bungie going to be tasked with kind of slotting themselves in with the Sony family? Ghost of Tsushima, another great example.
I'd like to tap in there because I think that's a really great point, because that certainly plays to the strengths and the pattern that we've seen within it. But at the same time, the part that gives me pause is that price tag. That is a hefty price that is significantly higher than we might even consider for any of the other names that you just mentioned. That alone means that there has to be a new benefit behind it. Don't get me wrong, that's going to be a perfect marriage. If we get a Cade 6 TV show, or we get to, I don't, it could be animated, I don't care, whatever kind. My heart freaks out because I know they could do that. That would be a really great partnership. But that also means we can't ignore the context. Microsoft is being massively aggressive right now, and they want to make sure that that balance to some degree is there. I don't think they're trying to cut each other out. That's just not, no one has the money to do that.
Sure. Sure.
But it is going to say, how do we make sure that we have a good foothold? Now, are they going to be wanting to be at that same level of like some of the competitive games that we see out there on the esports? Maybe not, but I think we're going to be inching into that a little bit so that we've got some ground to cover there.
I like that. I think that's a good way of looking at it. So okay, so now that I think that about brings us, like, you know, what we're looking at as far as what happened today. I feel like we've educated to folks on what went down from a logistics perspective. Ty, is there anything important here that you think we're leaving out in terms of the what of this?
I think one major point from Bungie's press release that I wanted to just highlight really quickly is Bungie's perspective, not on what they're bringing to Sony, but what on Sony is bringing to them. And that when they say in SIE, we have found a partner who unconditionally supports us in all we are and who wants to accelerate our vision to create generation-spanning entertainment, all while preserving the creative independence that beats in Bungie's heart. I think that Sony's ready to unlock what Bungie wants to do with their IP, and we've seen it happen with The Last of Us. You know, we have the HBO show coming out within, I think it's this year, maybe this fall, that it's supposed to start premiering. You know, big budget, big narrative show based on, you know, like you mentioned, the classic cookie cutter game. And I definitely see them leaning into that pretty hard with Destiny, because it's such this big, beautiful world ready with stories that are ready to tell right now, but then also new stories that can be created later. Now, we've had a lot of conversations over the past couple of years about, like, if I were to create a Bungie show, what would it be about? And there's so many different directions you can go, but, like, you know, as an independent studio, it would be difficult to justify Bungie spending the amount of money that would be necessary in order to create an entirely different revenue stream in television or movies. But with Sony already having an entire, like, Sony production studios set up and ready to go, all they need is IP and the licensing to do it. And so I think they're going to launch in, and I think we're going to start seeing stuff, I mean, as quickly as the next couple of years.
Boy, that'd be cool if we did, huh?
And I'll just say something. I'll try to only take like 10 seconds. But I mean, we've seen. So you're talking about the fact that Sony kind of gravitates towards these strong first-person, like, narrative, like, games. And you know, we've seen not just the hiring that Bungie's done with regards to, you know, kind of gravitating into branching off into other entertainment mediums, but also just the doubling down that you've seen from Bungie and from Destiny 2 over the last, I would say, definitely the last year, in the narrative, you know?
Yeah.
And just kind of really strongly, really
huge
like,
agree.
Really, yeah, you know, and it's just it's we're not just talking about, like, how strong the narrative is and how much more focused the direction of the narrative is. And how easy it is for folks to follow that, whether you're looking at lore or in game. But we're also talking about new ways that Bungie has been telling the story. So the example that I'll make is, you know, I mean, I was away on Apex for 4 months, but I started noticing it just through clips and whatnot on how they started to tell some of the lore in the game in some of these just NPC areas or whatever. And so, and just even just, you know, Savathun in the Crystal as well. And you know, it's just like that whole, you know, seasonal content arc right there. You're just listening to, you know, Savathun talk in this very compelling storyline and narrative that, you know, so it's just like, I think that's been very attractive and certainly was probably a big selling point with regards to that 3.6. But you can already see that Bungie's, you know, gravitating that direction, and then Ty's absolutely right. You know, like, Caustic's absolutely right. I mean, Sony already has the foundation, you know, for that entertainment that Bungie seems that other media forms of media that Bungie seems to want to gravitate towards anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
I think you hit the nail on the head that we've seen that movement towards like episodic content already. It started with the Season of the Hunt, kind of, but it really hit its stride in Season of the Chosen, that people started treating the game like a weekly television show. It's Tuesday, the new content is dropped, let's all sit down and experience this week's episode of, you know, Kicking It with Kaido. And so it's been really, really cool watching them develop and enhance that over the past year. And I think we're really only going to watch that explode and just grow like crazy. It's going to be really cool.
You're gonna make me get like dirty DMs about like we need a Kicking It with Keitel t-shirt on the merch store just so that we can. I would watch that show.
Full rights are yours. This is your content.
So to look back here, Ty, you kind of covered this just a second ago, but I did clip two of what I think are the most important parts of Bungie and Sony's official statements. Ty, you just read Bungie's. I'm gonna go over Sony's real fast. They had to say this about the deal today in their official blog post. Bungie's world-class expertise in multi-platform development and live game services will help us deliver on our vision of expanding PlayStation to hundreds of millions of gamers. Bungie is a great innovator and has developed incredible proprietary tools that will help PlayStation Studios achieve new heights under Hermen Hulst's leadership. Now, there's a couple of interesting things here that I want to very quickly discuss, and I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I something about this struck me. Well, you know, I don't, you guys all know me as a person, and I don't get cynical very often. I'm typically a very, sunny side up kind of guy. I can find the good in most of anything. This particular statement, despite the fact that it comes directly from PlayStation's blog, which, I mean, obviously there's a certain bias that comes with, reading the official PlayStation blog. But I want to talk about the contrast in something like this statement where twice very specific mentions of explaining PlayStation to hundreds of millions of gamers, delivering incredible proprietary tools that will help PlayStation Studios develop on blah, 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 blah. And compare that to some of our previous statements from someone like Phil Spencer, who is usually particularly adamant about Xbox's goal is to bring all gamers on all platforms together always. And of course I'm paraphrasing, but we've all seen these. He's done this multiple times. It's not a new thing for Phil. He gets in front of an interviewer, and the first thing he says is like, yeah, it doesn't matter where you play. I have a PlayStation at home. I have a Switch in my car right now. It's great. Everybody should play together all the time. You know, whatever, cross-platform is great. I get a little bit of some of that, you know, we've seen Sony's kind of storied and adamant history with shutting down the opportunities for crossplay and interactive communities. You know, they have maintained a very strong exclusive focused stance. Now, despite the fact that we have a promise from Bungie that Destiny will not include exclusive content or exclusive titles moving forward, I am interested to kind of look at some of this legalese that they've posted to say, okay, developed incredible proprietary tools that will help PlayStation Studios achieve new heights, that will not help gaming achieve new heights, that will not help the Destiny community achieve new heights, that will not help the Bungie community achieve new heights, that will help PlayStation players achieve new heights. And I am curious to kind of see, you know, again, how much of this turns out to be, you know, maybe not so much in favor of the big kumbaya that Bungie's, you know, so well known for. What do you guys think?
Well, okay, so I think a big factor that we need to consider is this upcoming vision of Sony that we're probably gonna see in the next few months. Their Spartacus project, which is basically their Game Pass. And I think that they're going to get smart here pretty soon and also want to try and make that available in more places. Obviously not on Xbox, but we're going to see it probably available through things like PC. Now that we're starting to see older PlayStation games pop up on PC, I think that they're going to make that a subscription. I think we're going to start seeing TV apps that allow for you to play, you know, Sony's Game Pass here very soon. And so with all those comes the requirement of wanting to play all these different games in different places. And Teej, I was actually talking to you about this earlier today. Destiny players are a bit spoiled when it comes to the ability to play one game with one account in anywhere you want.
That's true.
And I actually can't think of a lot of games, maybe Call of Duty and Fortnite, maybe, that have the kind of like sweeping instant availability of all content and progress on any platform. You can literally pick up a controller, play here, put it down, move over, startup and everything is the way it should be. Everything's tied to your Bungie account. And I expect that there is a degree of technology there that Sony is interested in because they're going to be expanding onto all these new branches of content. So maybe we'll see.
And I hope that's
actually
right.
I was actually curious about that, because what was it? You were reading a statement where they were saying that they were interested in some of the proprietary stuff that Bungie was doing with regards to crossplay and cross-platform. So, yeah, that's interesting.
I think that there's that, and that's the best case scenario, right? I think that's if that's the takeaway, and Sony says, we want to do more account unifying processes on all of our games so that you can play, your Horizon save on PC and PlayStation, simultaneously. I think if that's how they're going to lean on Bungie, perfect. Whatever, do what you got to do. I think that's a good thing for us overall. What I'm afraid of is we start to see, maybe not exclusive content or titles, but exclusive performance limitations or exclusive systems. The whatever. I mean, they were very specific about the companion app and third-party apps continuing to work across the board. But who's to say that doesn't protect future developments of other tools that Sony may see as valuable to their
That's a great point.
So
yeah, that's a great point.
So that's that. Looking kind of moving on here. Let's take a look at some of the other acquisitions that have happened across the industry.
I love your graph.
And how this one stacks up compared to the rest. So I'm going to take us away. Let's take a look at these. Here we go. Okay. So I wanted to go back and I've included several acquisitions on here, and I think they're all important to mention for several different reasons. And I'm going to go through them one by one, and we'll talk a little bit about this for a few minutes. Going back to 2014, this is kind of when we saw the first two big ones. Right? We saw Facebook buys Oculus, and everybody goes, social media just bought VR. I don't really understand what that means. And quite frankly, 8 years later, I still don't know what it means. Or what's
metaverse,
what's happening there? Sure, yeah.
And then it'll wake up and then it'll all be here.
The metaverse, whatever. If you tell me I can have Sword Art Online in real life one day, I'm ready. Let's go. Next to that, of course, 2.5 billion. Microsoft buys Minecraft or Mojang, and was the developer. And I think this was one that people were like, you bought one game for nearly $3 billion. Have you lost your minds? And of course, fast forward where you get to the Sony Bungie one, but I think that was an important one to include, not because of its dollar amount, but just because it was the first kind of stake in the ground that Microsoft said, we see value in this single IP. We want to own it. We want to help develop it. We want to spread it and make it a thing that is good for us. And they did that. They took the risk, and I think it paid off. Minecraft obviously is hugely popular. More recent. Last year, Microsoft and ZeniMax. Of course, ZeniMax being Bethesda, id, all those games that you love and adore, from ranging from Elder Scrolls to Doom, Outer Worlds, et cetera, et cetera. 7.5 billion. Now, this is an interesting one because obviously $7.5 billion last year is a lot of money.
Yes.
That's only, it's a lot of money. But they got probably, what would you say, 20 to 30 major IP that they now, have ultimate control over. So that was,
that's the number of franchises, not just the number of games.
Sure.
So it's a huge potential.
Huge. I mean, comparatively to the rest of what's on this graph, one might call that a steal. That Microsoft hit the jackpot with that one. Looking at the next one that happened just a couple of weeks ago. Take-Two. Obviously, that's the folks at the top of the GTA train. Getting on board with Zynga, the world's #1 mobile game publisher out there. And I think you see a big push here, in my opinion, and we're not going to talk about this because it doesn't really matter for this conversation, but you look at that's very likely we want GTA Mobile move. You look at PUBG Mobile, you look at Genshin, you look at Call of Duty Mobile. I think we want GTA Mobile, and that's what Zynga can provide. Here's the behemoth, right? Microsoft buys Activision Blizzard for $68.7 billion. That is an immense amount of money.
Yeah.
That is an almost nearly unfathomable amount of money for a single transaction.
Yeah.
We're like, I know we're not here to talk about this, but I still have no idea how Microsoft expects to make that back.
Yeah.
Like, those games don't make that much money, and like, it could be decades before it comes back. I don't know.
Sure. So, and obviously,
like I said, we're not here for that.
Big things in there, and this is how we're going to relate it to what we're talking about today. But obviously, Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft being the three kings. There's tons more inside that tree that funnel down and down and down to smaller and smaller games. But I think that's where you see the biggest value. Now let's look at this last one. Sony buys Bungie for $3.6 billion. Now, on the scale of these, this is obviously not the most expensive, but this is hanging right in there. You know, I want to say that when you're dealing with tens of billions of dollars, this is probably, you know, closer to the Microsoft ZeniMax deal than it is to the Minecraft deal, or the Minecraft deal. Not in terms of dollar amount, but in terms of like brand value. You know, I think a move of this size shows that Sony sees, I mean, an immense amount of value in not just Destiny, but in Bungie's, you know, potentially future IP and their studio as a whole. You know, I'll switch things back over to us here. The point of that graph and the point of showing those both side by sides is that to say that this is not an insignificant deal for a single IP. We're getting a little bit numb, I think, to all these big acquisitions and these high billions of dollar numbers. But I think that when you see them looking like that, like, you know, I'm a Destiny fan. We're all Destiny fans. When I sit down and boot up Destiny 2, I don't have a mental state as if I'm booting up Valorant or Apex or Call of Duty or one of what I would consider to be the earth-shattering, global dominating franchises of the games industry. It's not my. I consider us in our little community here to be somewhat niche. At least, you know, like that and that whether that's right or wrong doesn't matter, but that's the mental state that I'm in as a Destiny fan. What I think that this acquisition shows is that I am wrong. That there is that Destiny
You're not special.
way bigger than what my perception of it is as a fan.
I think one point as well to keep in mind is that Microsoft has acquired all these different companies over the years, right? We've had these huge deals coming out of Microsoft for like a while. This is the first for Sony.
Sure.
You know, they chose Bungie first.
They did.
So there's a lot to be said with regards to how much they value the studio and what both we see and also what we don't see.
Sure.
You know, kind of happening in the background. I think that's something that I haven't heard that much today.
But that's actually really important to touch on, especially with acquisition. Choosing the right match is really difficult. It's not just saying what benefits, like what proprietary, like sure, they do crossplay really well, right? We've got people on all different platforms. You're going to be able to tap into them already without having to think about how we're expanding it beyond this. So that's really nice. But especially with the culture of the gaming world and Activision and how they are, we'll just put it right there
Yes.
needing
Yeah.
massive reform, right?
Yes. Sure.
Don't get me wrong. There's always going to be opportunities for every organization to improve. Bungie's not perfect, but has taken great strides, been very open about the process, has a much stronger culture fit with its community. That might be the reason why Sony has also said this could work and why we're willing to trust you, because you're not going to be like Blizzard and we're going to have terrible stories come out where it's
True.
We're going to have to do press releases left and right and trying to deal with this. And of course, that kind of culture over time will tank the types of games and stories that you can play. And Sony, as we know, has an audience that loves stories. That means you have to come up with new stories, which means you're finding and needing to draw from diverse audiences and creators to be able to do so. So if you're picking a company that is outdated, that is archaic in its mindset, you're not going to be able to get the stories that push you forward.
That's a great point.
It's a really great point. I love that. So looking at that, and all of that information, we have the kind of proportion to which this deal compares to the rest. We have the details of the deal itself. Now let's look at a few of the key comments from some folks within the immediate vicinity of all of this, and I've got them pull up here. I'll read some of these out here. So the head of PlayStation Studios says, "I'm absolutely thrilled to welcome Bungie to the PlayStation family. Bungie create community-driven games with outstanding technology that are enormous fun to play, and I know that everyone at PlayStation Studios will be excited about what we can share and learn together." Pretty good. I think that's a pretty good PR, answer from the head of PlayStation. On the flip side of that, kind of right in the replies to there from our boy Philly Spence, hopping in. "Congrats to the talented teams at Bungie. Great testament to your creativity, and congrats to PlayStation and Herman Holst on adding a talented team to your studios." I like this. I like this two heads of studio kind of having a little Twitter exchange. I like this. I can't help but detect just the ever so tiniest grain of salt in Phil's tweet. Just a
My baby.
Just a little tiny, and now my opportunity is gone, and it will never happen. It feels very much like he's watching his first daughter get married, and she will no longer be his little baby girl anymore, and she's gonna go off with her new man and build a beautiful life together.
Can I poke in here real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
So he mentioned he uses the phrase "great testament to your creativity." I think that Bungie got away with like highway robbery on this deal. $3.6 billion. I don't want to shortchange the value of the IP that Destiny is, but like. Mm-hmm. They have really demonstrated, and Sony seems to have the view that not only is Destiny successful as it is and done very well for itself, it is going to be so much bigger than it is right now, based on either A, what they have currently seen, the game that we currently play, or B, even cooler stuff that we haven't yet gotten access to. They have earned this, and I'm really pumped that they got such a huge chunk of change. That only means wins for us players right now. I mean, 100%. I know that there are concerns for later. I see them in chat, like everyone's worried about exclusive content. We seem to be able to rule that out, at least for the immediate future. But I think we've got some really cool stuff coming along the way, and Phil is very correct to identify that.
We're going to take a quick look at some of these other ones. I'm not going to go through them all, but here on the right-hand side, you guys have a ton of the PlayStation family studios kind of just offering statements of congratulations. You have Joe Blackburn, who's the current Destiny 2 game director, being excited about, seeing the future of what they can build with Sony and their support. Obviously, CEO of Bungie, Pete Parsons, commenting that he's really excited about all the opportunities to hire new people that they have as a result of the acquisition. I think that's a very positive, very good position to have on this. Continuing through here, just to look at a few other folks. The head of GamesIndustry.biz, Christopher Dring. He's somebody who got a really great exclusive interview with the head of PlayStation. And he raised a comment here I think is very important to note, and it kind of ties back to our decision of our discussion around what did Sony buy. The motivation behind Sony's acquisition of Bungie is to help boost their own abilities to make live service multi-platform games. Equally, Sony unlocks the potential to Bungie to strengthen its technical capabilities and the prospect of taking its games to movies and TV. I think we talked about that at length, and it's nice to be validated, I think, by such an industry professional. But yeah,
I love it when we're right.
Kicking it with Keitel is just around the corner.
Oh boy, it's coming, guys. Write it down.
You got an interesting point from a from a games industry business analyst who says that the total of acquisitions in just January is already equivalent to the all of acquisitions in gaming for 2021 as an entire year.
I don't know if that's fair. Again, Activision, that's not fair.
It's not fair. It doesn't count. Doesn't count.
That's a good deposit, yeah.
The a couple of things here from Paul Tassi, a huge Destiny fan, games journalist for Forbes who talks about Destiny more than he talks about anything else, and has become quite the community figurehead, whether he wanted it or not. But Ty, to your point, he calls out that you know what else Sony owns? Sony Pictures and Sony Television. So there you are with that the set of production talent available to you. he is curious where Sony finds that 3.6 billion without exclusivity rights. I also have that question. I think that's a pretty good question to ask. If you are not getting any exclusivity, how do you make $3.6 billion back in the
My
future?
expectation is that they create a show like
Sure.
with Keitel, and then HBO wants it, and so they have to buy the rights, and they'll spend, they'll spend $500,000 on it, or sorry, not $500,000, $500 million on a show or on an IP, just to think about the money that was exchanged over Game of Thrones. I think they expect that degree of content.
Perfect.
And with the success we've seen when Witcher, I mean, the fact
Sure.
that it feeds
that's
back
a great
and forth to one
example.
another.
Yeah,
It's a
I
great
think you're right.
Clear that pathway has already been carved. They just have to walk down it.
They do. Yeah. And I think that there's obviously, as with anything, you're gonna have this moment of who's at the helm, right? I think you saw this has happened with game IP when it comes to live action all the time, is that a kind of maybe a very talented but headstrong producer or director really wants to make their take on X thing, and it usually is to the detriment of the character or franchise. I think unfortunately a good example of this very recently was the latest in the Tomb Raider live action entries. I think that you look at even what's made it out of there successfully. The Prince of Persia movie wasn't very well received. You have things like Witcher that are doing fine.
Such a shame.
It is such a shame because that's a great IP.
Oh, yeah,
That's
Witcher's
a great
just
IP.
doing fine. Sure. Okay.
We had an Assassin's Creed movie. I don't even know if you guys remember that, but
Such a
there,
That was terrible. That should
there
have
was
been
a
a
movie.
TV show.
Yep. So that obviously there's been a lot of missteps here, and actually speaking of stuff like this, we had the Halo trailer drop for the Halo show this week. And the trailer looks pretty decent. There's a few things that we don't need to talk about that are issues, but
It was a trailer.
it was a trailer. Yeah, it was a trailer for a show. But I think it's important to note for the babies in the audience that back in 2007, there was supposed to be a Halo movie. There was supposed to be a Halo show. And ultimately, the legal teams between Universal, who was the producer at the time, and Microsoft, we couldn't get out of the contract phase because nobody could decide on who got the merchandising money. And so you see stuff like this kind of fall through all the time because at the end of the day, business is business, and it doesn't matter what the fans are hoping for. So I hope that because it got greenlit, that obviously there's good things on the horizon, both for Halo, for The Witcher, for Destiny's future live action potential projects, and all that kind of good stuff going ahead. So, all right. In the interest of speeding things along, we're going to take a meme intermission. It's meme time. Okay. Yeah. And there have been some excellent memes to come out of the acquisition today. Let's take a look. This one, I saw this and it's good.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Yes.
It's pretty good.
Appropriate.
So thank you to Destiny Newscom on Twitter. A meme that needs no caption. Really giving us a gem here. All right. So then continuing down the pipe. This one I thought was a little darker, but still pretty good. We had Taken. Yeah, we have a Destiny the meme, who is a pretty popular Destiny meme account, came up with this one where obviously you have the thing about I laugh about this is because obviously taking in Oryx's case is against the subject's will. So we hope that's not the case with Sony and Bungie. Anyway, that's a pretty good one. This one cracked me up. That Bungie office remodel starting to make a lot of sense now. I laughed at this one particularly because Josh Kalinsky is a senior game designer at Bungie. So this one came right out of a senior game developer at Bungie's Twitter feed. So I thought that was pretty good. And then last but certainly not least, this one is a multi-part meme that started on January 18th, the day that Microsoft bought Activision.
This was nuts.
Skill Up on YouTube produced this meme that is, of course, a mocked up screenshot on the left-hand side here of Bungie's DMs. PlayStation reaching out to Bungie saying, crazy news, right? Anyway, just thinking about you. Hit me up. You up? And the meme at that time, of course, is to say that Sony's sweating bullets looking at Microsoft making all these moves, so they crawl back to the old bay and try to set up some business. And so then fast forward to today.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, the official Bungie account responds to that meme from a week ago, 2 weeks ago. How'd you get our login? Password is now changed. And Bungie, I'm sure hoping to seal the deal on the meme and kind of give a little backhand to Skill Up here. But Skill Up in a very authentic to brand fashion, not to be outdone, comes up with an incredibly quick response. Not before I got your reply, in which he has photoshopped the response from Bungie. Get over here right now.
I love this.
This was absolutely wonderful. And to read it all as a thread and to watch that one kind of to play out, just see a meme that has spanned 2 weeks. I can't remember last time a meme lasted 2 days. So
shout out to the social media manager who saw it, knew it was coming,
saved it, yeah, saved the meme.
Calendar. Don't forget to reply to Skill, and he had that out.
I think it's even higher level than that.
Probably scheduled it, to be honest.
Oh, for that?
Oh, nice.
Might have been, yeah.
No, I'm not. I've managed social. Listen, social media people don't get told about acquisitions until like the day before.
That's fair.
This is something we're not high on the totem pole. Yeah, they're like, social media, we had to hire some millennial to do it. I don't know. Right? So CEOs don't think I got to loop in this person. But that means even more kudos to the social media person behind it, because they remembered that and are like, I got to bring this in. I know the perfect thing. That's talent. That's somebody thinking creatively, not on the spot.
Pretty good. And I like this too, because this is the Skill Up has, obviously he's very popular, but he has been a particularly critical voice of a lot of Destiny 2's past. I'm not talking like gentle criticism. I'm talking like harsh hour-long YouTube video criticisms of, various elements of Destiny. So to see them kind of maintain this working relationship with him and kind of get the Bungie account, which I don't know if you guys know this, Bungie account does not follow or tweet at very many people. It's the CMs that handle that, right? It's DMG, it's Cosmo, and the crew that kind of get in there and facilitate those replies. But that's a pretty good little exchange.
I put a little thing in our chat to CausticPhoenix's point there. Jason Schreier, who's the Bloomberg reporter that put this out today, he posted a secondary little follow-up tweet that said in 2007, when Bungie was spun out from Microsoft, they had an all-hands meeting and they popped champagne. In 2019, when Bungie split with Activision, they had an all-hands meeting and they popped champagne. Today, they're all remote, and they heard that Sony news via a Teams call before the announcement.
Oh.
So I actually think you're right. I think the social media guy learned on the Teams call this morning,
probably
at the same time as everyone.
Well,
else.
That makes sense too, because DMG actually put out a tweet that I retweeted. The fact that he literally found out at 10 a.m. his time this morning. Like that was the first that he had heard. That's
crazy.
Of it, so.
I mean, and I get it.
Happen. They happen, and the conversations happen for at least months ahead of time. Like this isn't like a month of thing.
Oh yeah.
Easily months ahead of time, but it's only a very, very small group of people, because if things go south, or of course it can impact finances, or any other perhaps other deals that we didn't hear come to light.
Yeah.
There's a really strict reason why, and they certainly don't give anyone who has usage of social media privy to those details.
True. A millennial will definitely squeal. 100.
Yeah, those darn millennials.
Yeah. 100%.
And then their beanbag chairs.
Their ping pong tables.
And avocados.
We don't need to give them pay.
Nope, we'll pay them in exposure.
Yeah.
All right, so moving on to what will be our kind of meat and potatoes, and kind of wrap us up here. This will be the more extended part of this is looking at the good, the bad, and the ugly. And we've done a little bit of this kind of as we go, so none of these points will be as relevant. But in just looking here at as we think about the things that are positive for everybody, things that are negative for everybody. We've talked a lot about the positives. I think we've identified a lot of positives. Bungie gets live action. Sony gets proprietary cross-play technology. These are a lot of really, really good things. New hiring potential for those folks at Bungie. I think that's all really, really good. I have a couple of notes here, and I don't know if you guys do too. Obviously, everybody can chime in here. I think that one of the things that we haven't yet talked about is post Destiny 2, the final shape, which is, of course, our 2024 bookend to the Light and Dark saga, as it has been defined to us. Does the Sony acquisition allow us to have potentially the good thing of a Destiny 3?
I mean,
the language. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Ty. No, please go ahead. Go ahead, Ty.
The language that Bungie and Sony have used today has indicated that there will be no such thing as platform exclusive content from Bungie. I worded that very specifically.
Well, remember, this is the goods. Think about the goods. This is still a good thing. The bad's coming. We're gonna get there.
Oh, I must have gotten a little tripped up. The good thing is they got a ton of cash and they're getting a ton of people. We had a short conversation today about the fact that now Bungie once again has access to potentially support studios. SIE is a big group of developers, and not all of them are super busy all the time. And if Bungie is interested in throwing a new raid or a new dungeon in there, they have a lot of really great talent they can pull from.
Who was the Activision studio that helped?
Vicarious Visions.
Vicarious Visions,
Crown
yeah.
of Sorrow. And so that is, we don't forget, we got 3 raids that year, which was crazy. We haven't got it. We didn't have that many before. We haven't had that many since. And so we could potentially see, a huge influx of content once this ball starts to get rolling. So I'll pass it off to the other team members.
Yeah, I mean, Tony,
I think that's the first potential big win.
You want to jump in there, Tony? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with Ty on, and I'm sure all of you on the very obvious resources.
Yep.
I mean, we're not like anywhere that there is any aspect of Destiny, like could benefit. Could be like I don't know what area of Destiny couldn't benefit from some additional resources, and it was gonna come back. PvP, Lord have mercy. Man.
Yeah, but at that point, you're not handing off that responsibility though. Sony doesn't have that. Sony doesn't have.
Yeah, name the SIE studio that has the high quality PvP.
They
maps
don't.
That they're gonna
I just want money. I just want money. I just want the money.
Money, please.
Money. So do you give the seasonal narrative to a studio like Naughty Dog? And they're developing out, your week-to-week seasonal, and then Bungie takes that PvP focus you want and does what they do.
Why would you give away the profoundly
because
best
what's
piece
the
of
other
last
option?
year of content?
The other option is just to hire more people for PvP. I think the
you think grow Bungie.
Yeah, just grow it, exactly. Like they've already hired. What do they have? Like something like 2 people on the PvP, like dedicated PvP people, like up
more
until
than that.
Two people.
Dude, I don't know.
Two people.
It was an exaggeration, but my point is they had to grow they only recently grew the PvP.
Yo,
PvP
Tony, imagine it's us.
again.
We walk into the office, just high five each other. All right, man. We gotta carry on our backs,
We're
baby.
here.
High five. Here we go. PvP.
Literally. Yeah, but my point is, just money to, like, they already have smart people there. The people that they've hired, I know some of them, and they've hired some really, really great people to work on the PvP side of the game. But we're talking PvP needs a lot of help. Now we can talk about Gambit too. I know people are gonna say something. Somebody probably said it in chat too, but I'm just saying. I'm just really excited about that because it really did seem like it's just money. To be the main resource behind them. I mean, they already have produced fantastic top tier AAA PvP, both maps, sandbox, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, like I said, I just don't think that they had the financial resources, honestly, in order to get more of those people on board to kind of maintain the live service specifically for PvP content or otherwise. So I'm really excited about that. I can't really see beyond that. As a PvP main, you can ask me this question a billion times, and I really everything I'm thinking today is just like, man, I just really hope. Every day I just hop on the game thinking, man, I just really hope today's a good day for PvP, man.
It is PvP day.
I just really hope today's a PvP. And some days it's not. So I'm just excited for that. And yeah.
Phoenix, if you could assign support from some of Sony Studios to Bungie and Destiny, like what does that look like to you? Obviously, with the example we gave a minute ago with Vicarious Visions building raids. Like what do you do? What do you have Bungie take help from? Because obviously they have an immense mountain of resources, and if they can't staff a whole other team right away, what are Sony's strengths and how do they lend to Destiny?
Honestly, it is pulling it out of the game and creating more accessible ways to tap into the lore. That lore, I mean, Bungie does such a great job in creating dense lore that is so rich and fantastic, but a majority of the players never get into it. They don't read the descriptions. They don't go into all the cards. That's not there. Even though I will say D2, it's a little bit easier to access.
Sure.
But even when there's that paragraph long of extra Xur statements, how many people are actually reading that? Many aren't. But it's still good, and it makes sense in being able to understand the story. You.
I'm reading it as Xur himself.
See, when I do it, I give him a southern accent.
Oh, darn dude.
I'm interested.
Then Star Pony. Okay.
There's a snake on my face.
But that's going to take something that has been so overlooked and is already there. And as we know, Bungie wants to do more multimedia. How do we get this out? How do we get this out? And it's something that we've seen in YouTube channels and other people creating content that bring out that, like, people are watching it. They're consuming it like crazy. That people need this.
Yeah.
So that's where Sony's going to really, I hope, bring out that benefit. I'm still dreaming of the Cade 6. I know we mentioned it. Or Keidel's kicking it with Keidel.
Kicking it with Keidel, baby.
Guys, we're gonna will this into existence.
All right.
My big idea that did not get a lot of traction today, but I thought was stellar. Was
Tell us, baby. Tell us. The floor is yours.
Titan energy right there.
Come here.
Okay.
This is it, guys. Come on in. Come close. All right. This year, Sony bought Housemarque Entertainment, makers of Returnal, a very successful, very action-packed roguelite, which are, the type of experiences where you play and then you die and then you restart and you play and you die and you restart, which is exactly what we wanted the Infinite Forest to be. And there is nothing in the world that says that Housemarque cannot now fully develop what should have been the Infinite Forest in the first place.
With the ever relevant Curse of Osiris storyline.
Everybody remembers that, right? Yeah, I do, of course.
There was a Vex guy in there, right?
Who?
I'll tell you what I would take, Ty, kind of to feed off of that, and this is maybe something that same studio would be good at. I would absolutely take an almost like firefight horde mode. Think the better version of that Halloween event we used to get, right? Where you fight your way through layers and layers of nightmares, and then and unfortunately the limitation, of course, was that you hit a checkpoint, you'd go backward or whatever, it would kind of just loop itself. But if you could make this kind of truly procedure generated, maybe it's less about survival and speed running and more about taking that combat that Destiny is just so chef's kiss at, right? And saying what's a limitless loop where I can go test weapons, and what's the first thing you do when you get a new gun? You go to the EDZ, right where the Cabal and the Fallen are going to spawn endlessly for 7 minutes, and you can just blast away at level 1 ads, like that. But that's a world event. That's timed, and think, what if you could queue into that with your buds and be like, let's just see what Actium War Rig and 6 Heir Apparents do as we stand next to each other. Let's just find out. I don't know.
I see something like you spawn in and you've got your all white gear and your broken traveler's chosen, right? And you're going through the forest and, oh, look, I found a Kostov, like the AR. Cool. Now I got this. Oh, tight. Now I've got the thermite grenade. We're ready to go. And then the further you go, you get more abilities. You get your super. You get better guns. Later in the game, you find exotics. Every X number of levels, you fight a big bad.
That's cool.
Man,
that is cool.
Yeah,
that is cool. I like
there.
that.
The idea is there. We just have to capture it.
That's the new light quest now. So
Yeah, no, that'd be dope. That'd be dope.
Done.
be pretty great, right?
You know, and I'll add on to a couple of the things, especially that Caustic said. You know, like the real strength, and you know, we said it a bunch of times, but the real strength is the entertainment, right? And how to tie that in to bringing more people into the franchise. You know, whether it be through consuming the entertainment or through playing the game. But it's beautiful. Destiny's always online to play. You know. There's so much content in the game, especially for new light players. I think that's another reason why in Witch Queen they've already kind of given us some notes that lead us in this direction. But for Witch Queen, they've really focused on improving kind of the new light onboarding process. You know, I guess I'll just say it like that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, I'll say it like that. And the fact that you can immediately start the campaign like day one, even if you start, because everybody's coming in on that base light level in order to immediately start the campaign. I think we're going to see more and more of those types of considerations for new light players in Witch Queen. And like I said, that just ties into if we're now talking about something like an Arcane type show. You know, that is going to get people interested in
Can you imagine?
League of Legends. And if we get an Arcane type show that makes more people want to play, okay, I just finished Arcane, I want more Arcane. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to wait till next year or whatnot, but I can go play League of Legends right now. I can go play Destiny 2 right now, you know? And they go play it, and they don't actually need me as a friend to guide them through it. The new light experience is much more streamlined. That onboarding, you know, is much less frustrating than it is right now, and they can clearly see, you know, kind of how to step through the content. And there's so much content. People we underestimate, as folks that play almost every day. You know, we underestimate how much content is in the game for folks that have never experienced Destiny 2 at all. And so, you know, I think all of that kind of coming together, you know. Yeah.
I mean,
I think you hit the nail on the head. And Teej, we were talking about this earlier this week. I think a really good example of that is actually this week's movie of the week.
I was just going to bring that up. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up.
They brought a story to the opening mission of Destiny.
Did you guys watch this, Phoenix? Tone, did you guys see this movie, Solas?
If you haven't, I cannot recommend
Please watch it.
enough.
Please watch it.
But they've put a voiceover on the Guardian and on the Ghost. They've added music. They've added sound effects. They've added a story.
GFX.
To that first moment of being woken up. What the heck is happening? And we have to make it through the dam to get you a ship so you can go back to the tower. What the heck is the tower? I don't know. Like they've told the whole story in 25 minutes, and like very few things have ever wanted me to go back and play a game like watching it happen and watching those emotions like develop over the course of that episode. And I think you're 100% right that would be huge for a game developer.
Do you know what it felt like? It felt like if you've played the intro mission to BioShock, when from the starting moment where your plane goes down and you're in the water and you're swimming in a lighthouse and your character's live reacting to this, you know, kind of tumultuous journey to through the water as a plane's on fire all around you. And then, you know, the little radio pops up with what's his nuts there on the to kind of give you some guidance and suggestion, and you have this kind of back and forth. And you know, I think that definitely, I mean, please check it out. It's a lot of exactly what we're talking about. Yeah, definitely
no,
good.
I think that's a really
shout.
great point that we're talking about, and as physics, as you mentioned in this, of course, how we do this onboarding. And that's one of the nice things about Bungie in particular, is that there are a variety of gameplays that make it friendly for new players. If you've never picked up a controller or played a PC game before, Bungie is a great place to begin. There's you can just wander around the EDZ and pick up resources if that's what you want.
You can.
Yeah.
Shoot Elixir. You don't need to have the challenge there. That's perfectly fine. There's a lot of nice leveling to it to be able to appreciate the story for what it is without having to feel like I have to do everything. Like if I don't finish an exotics quest, it's not the end of the world, right? Right. It still continues on, or I can watch the TV show, you know, and be able to see what it is and live it through it that way. So they feed into each other really nicely.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these just critical moments so that we can loop back around on positivity before we end it out here. I'm going to rattle off a couple of bullets that we'll go over just briefly. I'll kind of get a comment from each of you guys and we'll go through. So Bungie is no longer, quote unquote, truly independent. They say they are an independently publishing studio. They will remain independent within Sony. Sorry, they gave you $3.6 billion. Your independence is gone, homies. That is not a, you can be as independent inside you want. I tell my mom all the time when I was 16, I'm independent and you don't control me. And any adult would laugh at that statement. Especially with me. But I mean, real quick for Phoenix, TyFighter, Phoenix, right or wrong, are they independent within the house?
They aren't independent, and I don't think we're going to see any mass changes right away. But especially down the road, and if it's not as fruitful as Sony hopes it to be, whatever that ends up actually being behind the scenes for them, that's where we're going to see more of those strings tighten a lot more and the puppets come into play.
Ty.
I'm going to push back on that a little bit. They officially proclaimed themselves as a, quote, wholly owned independent subsidiary. And yeah, I know a lot of legal language there. Sorry.
It's an oxymoron, Ty.
For a long time. But what that means, Sony owns all of their public stock. All of it, 100%. So in that respect, you are correct. They do not own their own future there. But according to the definition of wholly owned subsidiary, wholly owned subsidiaries allow the parent company to diversify, manage, and possibly reduce their risk. In general, wholly owned subsidiaries retain legal control over operations, products, and processes. So I think the part that we as players are worried about, I think they still are making all the decisions and making all the rules in that respect. There was very little communicated today that made me think that PlayStation wanted to try and guide that ship in any way. But
physics,
we'll see.
Yeah, I'm kind of neutral. I kind of agree on both sides. I can't see, even though they're a wholly owned subsidiary, and I generally do agree with Ty. I also agree with Caustic. I mean, that's, again, $3.6 billion. She's right. If things, aren't as fruitful as Sony anticipates in the areas that were dependent upon that acquisition, I think there's definitely going to be some strings tightened somewhere. But I think also that Bungie learned a lot from their deal with Activision as well. So that's what makes me lean quite hard on Ty's side overall. Bungie learned a lot. They're not trying to repeat their mistakes. And so therefore I'm cautiously optimistic with this deal.
Okay, so
I want you to be right.
So do I. I mean, honestly, and Ty, I want your definition of wholly owned subsidiary to be written somewhere more important than wherever website you found it. As it pertains to this show, anyway. But I think and if that's true, then what I'm about to say really doesn't matter. But if it's not, then this is also something for us to consider.
It matters to me, Teej.
Which is, thanks, Ty. They mentioned on 100 different ways on every blog and even Sony mentioned this: creative control, creative control, creative control, creative control. I read the words creative control next to each other so many times that I could have thrown up with how many times my eyes spun around reading the words creative control right in a row. Creative control is not business control. Creative control means that they will make the version of the games that they want to make as it is determined by them and their ideas and imaginations. Hiring more people doesn't mean there won't be layoffs. If Sony has a department of folks that can fill a void that Bungie has, or has a small staff to do, and they have a well-established reputation for that, there is no business reason to continue to use Bungie's resources when they have a better version on their own.
That's a huge point. Things like legal services and HR and so many other pieces of a business that have nothing to do with the creative product output could absolutely probably be serviced by the systems that Sony already has in place.
In addition to that, expansion release timing, platform release timing, and price point are no longer considerations that technically are owned by Bungie if they have only retained creative control. Now, I don't want to see Destiny go to $70 in expansion. I mean, I don't think anybody does. That's been Sony's track record with their exclusive content. Now, luckily, it hasn't quite spread so far as the multi-platform stuff, so it looks like we might be safe on that front. But just because there are no exclusive maps, strikes, weapons, etc., doesn't mean the PlayStation's not going to get it first. It doesn't mean that PlayStation's not going to get an extended period of time to play. It doesn't mean that betas won't be exclusive. You know, it simply means that there won't be something that PlayStation can get that I cannot. But they never promise that it will be simultaneous. The same thing goes for the release timing of things. If Bungie wants to take that extra year, remember when Final Shape didn't exist? Remember when they told us when Witch Queen was delayed, hey, there's more story we actually want to tell. We're going to wait another year. You know why? Because we're independent. We can. You know, there's going to be Sony shareholders that might not have liked that answer in the same way that Activision didn't like a lot of that answer if we need to delay. And it forced Bungie into a situation where they were incredibly unhappy with the amount of content they needed to produce and the amount of time they needed to do it. So there's a certain reality to the business side of this. That Ty, if you're right and they're a wholly owned subsidiary and they actually have all the control of that stuff, wonderful. I wish they'd mentioned that today.
They did mention that.
Well, I just mean in the specific terms of something beyond creative control.
You wanted my legal definition on their press release?
I wanted them to say Bungie retains creative control and business studio operational control. You know, something to say this extends beyond. We're not. All I got out of the creative control thing was that, hey, we're not going to let anybody else write Destiny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, I think that's a concern I've got.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'll just say if we would have found out, you know, like a couple of years down the road that Witch Queen, you know, Witch Queen ended up being released in September, normal time for the annual expansion or whatnot. But we found out that, you know, there was a lot of crunch and there was just a bad kind of like feel around it at the studio, and maybe it didn't come out as good as we all anticipate that's going to come out in February. And on top of that, just the consideration with regards to just these 3 years being in COVID, man, I wouldn't have the right feeling about it, and certainly, you know, would feel for the employees that work on the project. So yeah, no, I agree. That's a good point.
Here's kind of a winky sad.
I'll do that again. I'm sorry. What was that? All right.
Yeah, I was never very good at winking. Okay. Destiny content will very likely never again appear on Game Pass.
I disagree with that. I'm sorry. I just had a really strong reaction to that. I don't know why.
Fight me. Come on.
It's a very strong word.
Has to use it. It's very much so. I mean, I'm kind of on the same page with Phil on this one. Games are everywhere. And Bungie, especially Destiny, it's easy to say, try it out on Game Pass. See if you like it. And
but is Sony going to let them say that?
Yeah.
What?
Because the more people
they won't.
Yes. No.
There's no way.
Maybe on Sony's new Game Pass.
Maybe on Sony's Game Pass.
Yeah. The idea is to make sure that it is as accessible. It is as accessible as possible to be able to hold on to that. Now, yeah, not maybe D2, but having that, to leave it on as is not like a huge promise, right? It's not like a big thing where you're getting all of the access. You're missing a lot of content that is already on Game Pass. Leaving that on right now doesn't change anything.
But it's only on PC's Game Pass. They already ripped it off of Xbox.
Yeah. But it's not going to be that
still on PCs? I thought it was off there too.
Is it off there
still
too?
on there.
I thought it was PC Game Pass. I don't know.
I don't know myself.
I know it was taken down from Xbox, but that was before the acquisition, obviously.
I think PlayStation knows they need to have as many people being able to hop into it.
Or the acquisition.
Is this part of the acquisition language?
Well, I think that it being removed from Game Pass this year all at once so abruptly, I think it was part of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
So you guys think that Sony says, "Yeah, we'll buy you 3.6 billion, and part of what that Billy is going to buy is no more Game Pass. So we're gonna you better make those Xbox players pay."
You're being too pointed about it. They're just saying that this content now belongs to us and it can't be available on a marketplace that we don't own.
To make that commitment before the money comes through is real risky.
That's true.
Acquisitions fall through all the time.
That's true. That's not wrong. Yeah.
I would not make through any promises until it's bought.
Okay.
Was it straight bought today, or was it bought
it's not
a month
finalized
ago and now it's still not finalized?
No, yeah. I don't. They're still they announced. I mean, they announced like we plan to follow through with this pending any contractual.
Yeah, just
blah,
like
blah, blah, blah.
just like the Activision doesn't actually go through till like next summer.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to leave you guys with a couple of fun questions here.
All right.
Can I just make the point? Like,
Do it. Hit me.
There's no way, man. I can't see it.
Phoenix, you're outnumbered on this one. You're outnumbered on this one.
Like, I'm just saying.
I just can't let it go.
I'm just saying, Caustic. You know, like, I love it. I love the optimism. You know, I truly do.
Let's come back here in a year, and you all
Yes.
are gonna apologize.
Oh,
I hope so.
I hope we are. I hope you're
I'm
right.
into it.
I
I'm
hope
into
you're
it.
right.
I really do hope
I'm
you're right,
not.
because in the end, it's just like I'm not.
I'm
I
not.
never win the
Bossically
lottery. It's
optimistic.
okay.
Yeah. So I can't. I mean, I can't see it happening. I can't see it happening.
Okay. All right. So, well, put your thoughts in the comments below on what do you think is going to happen with Game Pass and Destiny.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to know from each of you. Physics, we'll start with you on this one. What is one thing you definitely want to see come out of this? You can only pick one thing. I think you've already said it several times, but just in case it's changed over the course of the conversation.
Well, give me about 10 seconds. Give me about 10 seconds. Let me actually, can we go to Caustic first?
Yes.
I'm gonna think about that. See if I can actually get over this PvP hump that I'm in. And
Okay.
then,
All right.
you know.
I think that's a legitimate hump.
It is a pretty legitimate hump. It's true.
Yeah, I just okay. I'll say this. I'll say this and kind of expand on it a little bit. You know, the areas of the game, people are always like, "Man, it's not a PvP game. It's not a Gambit game." Well, yes, it is. You know, who releases like a game has
an all of the
aspect.
game.
Has
It's all the game.
It's a PvP game.
Yeah.
It's a Gambit game. Like, why would they have those modes in the game? You know, if they
It's
didn't
the
live up
game.
to the same standards, you know,
Sure.
like it can be a smaller portion of the game. Most definitely, that's fine. You know, it can be a more confined portion of the game. Just like on a hard drive, you've got, you know, a certain amount of space allocated here, maybe a smaller amount of space, but it can be also of the same quality or of a similar quality, you know, even though maybe it occupies a smaller space. So I just want to see a more holistic approach to the quality and the content that we get in these areas of the games that have been, at this point, you know, traditionally underfunded. And so the PvP definitely being a large part of that. I'm certainly biased, but also Gambit as well. I enjoy Gambit. It's a real chill time right now. Some people definitely can get pretty competitive with it as well, but you know, I certainly love just hopping in Gambit and just vibing for like a couple hours, just killing ads or whatever else. I would love to see the Gambit armor come back from Gambit Prime. I thought, like, I was really disappointed to see that go. I thought it provided a lot of depth to the game mode, where like just the armor existing, you know, provided a lot of depth to the gameplay. I would literally just be, because I mean I'm in PvP, right? That's my main. I don't like to invade when I go into Gambit. I just want to sit there and kill ads, you know, do my job over here, collect motes. So, you know,
you're gonna make me cry.
Armor,
I'm gonna cry right now.
I was collector armor was underrated. Holy, collector armor was strong. It was underrated.
Okay.
So much fun, man. It was so good. So my point is, you know, I just want to see a more holistic approach to, you know, resources being allocated to ensure that, you know, all areas of the game, whether they're smaller or larger, have that same kind of standard of quality.
Cool. Phoenix, what's the one thing you want to see come out of this?
It's a little similar, with a slight twist on it, if you will. So I do want more resources. I think that's really exciting, more so because I'm hoping that this will create a healthier working environment for the creators here at Bungie. Obviously, hitting hard deadlines, a lot of overtime, it's exhausting, it can be toxic. So I'm hoping with the structure and backing that Sony can provide, that we're going to see a bit more of this workplace revolution that gaming industries desperately need in this place.
Okay.
I want to take care of the people.
They're your polar ice
deserve it.
caps. I get it.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you.
Ty.
I'm telling you, man. I'm so worried, man. I'm so worried. I'm stressed out every day, dog.
Okay.
Every day.
I want the final shape to be a PS5.
Oh, stop. Oh, stop.
Get out of here.
Jeez.
No, I think the biggest thing that I'm interested in is Destiny as an IP coming to the masses. I want to be able to talk to my brother about Destiny and my parents and my friends at work, because right now video games, as much as many people still interact with them, as large as the population is, it's still not movies, and it's still not as cool to spend your weekend playing video games as it is to binge a Netflix show. And you don't go back to work and tell your friends about this really cool beat that took place in your video game this weekend. And if we can get Destiny hooked into video in some capacity, whether it's TV, whether it's movies. Maybe it's a format that we don't know yet. I just want to be able to have the people that I interact with on a regular basis be as invested in it as I am. Because, you know, like you mentioned earlier, Teej, like our little community, our Destiny community, we are fairly niche. And so we get to experience this really wonderful, rich, deep narrative story. And then like this small little bubble is it. Like I don't get to go and talk about it with the people that I see on the outside. And so the concept of this world opening up to more people our age and more people outside of our little small circle, I think is most exciting for me.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, I never would have thought to word it that way, but I think that's a really, really good point. It would be nice to feel like I can talk about Destiny the way I talk about Game of Thrones, and the way I talk about Star Wars, you know, Book
Except
of Boba
with a
Fett.
better ending.
I mean, the book ending could be better. We just don't have that yet.
We don't have it because Martin's
We'll
too
never
busy
know.
with Elden Ring.
We'll never know.
All right, mine, I mean, is way less cool than all. I mean, gosh, I thought I was going to have a real banger here, but you guys really put some thought into it.
Sorry, we used our brain.
Yeah, it's all right. I wish you hadn't. I certainly didn't. I just want a Destiny anime.
That's worth it,
And
though.
you know,
That's
man,
worth it.
the Star Wars Visions that released
That's
over the
what I'm
summer
talking
was
about.
the perfect example of what we can look for.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
all different creators coming in with all these cool, unique little stories in their own. Yeah, it's perfect.
So,
Perfect
like,
example.
I look at, like, you know, Star Wars Visions, Marvel's What If, like, and I'm not even saying it has to be anthropology style. I think that it can be a
Anthology.
continuing, anthology. There it is, anthropology.
Not closed door.
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's late. Let me just get one more sip of that. And so yes, I don't think it needs to be anthology. I think it could be a continuing story. But I think that you've got enough of a core lore based kind of roster of interesting characters that we know little enough about, where, you know, if you center your story around a young Mara or a young Petra or a young Zavala, I think you've got a really, really neat. I think they showed us the glimpse. You guys remember that trailer that had a glimpse of baby Zavala, like building houses and stuff? You know, and he was like doing little tiny thunder slams, and he wore like really terrible armor, and like, he was a kindergarten at one point. Wow, he wasn't just born commander of the tower. Oh my gosh! Like, imagine you know, an anime that follows, you know, maybe independently each member of the original Vanguard until they meet, right? And you have a series that culminates in the meeting of the fire team. Right, of how Cade and Ikora and Zavala met. I think that there's so many stories that Bungie hasn't told that they probably can't tell in a game, but they absolutely could through something like an animation or live
Most
action.
definitely.
Something.
Yep.
So
And we definitely, I mean, we've said it before, everybody said it, you just have so much rich lore to fall back on, you know, like we literally have like scripts just sitting there for the taking. So huge opportunity. Let me also just double down as well on what Caustic said. You know, Bungie over the past couple years and has also reaffirmed after that article that came out, I guess, what was it, in like December or November or something like that in IGN, you know, that they're trying to be the change. They're trying to be the change in this industry for how they treat their employees, you know, workplace inclusivity. And so, yeah, I'm 100% with Caustic that it'd be wonderful to see that continue to evolve, you know, and with Sony's resources, continue to see that evolve into, you know, the type of gaming studio that is kind of just that next level, because obviously we know what the industry is like for marginalized communities in particular, but just I mean, if we're just talking about everybody, crunch is something I think about all the time, especially, you know, with COVID and everything here right now. So and people are like working from home and that sort of thing. So yeah, if we could take it to the next level and change the way that you know, this industry does business in house, that would be, I'd take that over PvP. I would.
You're
actually,
here.
I would.
heck
I'd
yeah.
take that over PvP like every day. So yeah, I'm into that.
All right, Ty, close us out. Who wins in this deal?
Ooh, Bungie won big time.
Bungie won.
100%.
Caustic, who won?
They made it out like bandits, and then they get to develop this IP they've had for so long and turn it into something bigger than they ever thought it was going to be. Huge win.
Phoenix, who wins?
I'm gonna channel some of your positivity. Maybe the players?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Maybe players win. All right.
I love it.
Physics, who wins?
I'm with it. Like Bungie won for sure.
Bungie won.
Yeah. You know, to be able to tell these like the big thing, Sony Entertainment, to be able to tell these stories and also I guess the us. I don't have to be on Destiny in order to kind of consume, you know, the lore and these great stories. That's such an untapped resource at this point, you know, that's already kind of just sitting there on paper. Yeah, Bungie won, and we won specifically in that right there, you know.
Perfect. I'm gonna say that that everybody's right here. I think that Bungie definitely is the clear top of the podium. But I mean, Phoenix, I don't think you're wrong. I think the players absolutely do win in this situation if the promises that are outlined in this agreement are kept by both parties. I think that there's no way for us as players to lose if everything they've said holds true. So that's very, very, very exciting stuff. Wow, guys, we did it. We talked about the thing.
Yep.
Thank you guys for watching and enjoying this tonight's discussion. If you guys like this, make sure you let me know in the comments. I'll try to do more content like this on the channel in the future. If you liked the panel of hosts that I had, definitely let me know, because I do want to have them back. And if you hated them, let me know so I can ban them and never have them back again. That would just, you know, let me know. I'll take anybody's single comment as set in stone. So
I see that as a business decision. I wouldn't take that personally.
Yeah,
That's
really.
fine, yeah.
I
will only come back on the show though if there are more PowerPoints and bar graphs.
More PowerPoints and bar graphs. Yes, I can promise more PowerPoints and bar graphs. To the co-host, thanks so much for coming, guys. I know this went a little bit longer than I had initially said it would, but I really appreciate you guys sticking with me and having the conversation. I think we talked about a lot of important stuff. Phoenix is cracking up about what is making you laugh. What is making you laugh so hard?
Oh, I did a dumb comment in chat.
Oh, you did. More Titans.
Arrogant.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, let's tell everybody where they can catch up with you guys. If everybody, if you're watching and you see the video and you aligned particularly with some of these folks, where can they find you? Phoenix, where are you at on your social medias?
Sure, you can find me on Twitch here at CausticPhoenix, which right after this, we're going to go over to my stream to celebrate my belated birthday making mocktails.
Oh,
hey! Happy
It's a
birthday,
work
happy
night,
birthday.
so no alcohol.
Oh, well.
But yeah. Becca Godzi on Twitter instead, if you want to chill there too.
Awesome. Physics.
illPhysics on most platforms, but you know, I'm on Twitch most of the week. illPhysics, and then when I'm not there, I'm generally on Twitter. But on Twitter, you can find my link tree. You can find everything else, but it's generally illPhysics in most places. So
Cool. Ty.
I'm really only on Twitter these days, probably more than I should be, but that's okay. Just TyFighter _TV. That's TyFighter with a Y because Tyler. But yeah, that's where you'll find me.
I love it. And if it's your first time here and you like what you saw, I've been Big Daddy Teej. We do a lot of Destiny content here, and I hope that we will continue to see you guys and get to know you more. I'm going to be switching over to enjoying Destiny 2 here in just a moment to round out the rest of our evening.
Here's a pretty cool game. Go have fun.
Yeah, I hear it's pretty good. It's I guess there's something to it or something. I don't know. It's like we talked about all night. But thank you all for joining me, and I will catch up with you guys real soon. I'm going to transition over here to a different screen while I switch things around. But if you're in chat hanging, thanks for being here, and we'll catch you guys real soon.
Yeah.
thanks for having us. I appreciate it.